This is the Sweet Song Podcast, where we unwrap your favorite songs. I'm your host, Kristi Wooten, and this week we welcome singer Stella Cole. Welcome to the Sweet Song Podcast. I'm Kristi Wooten, and I'm pleased to have as my guest today Decca recording artist Stella Cole. Welcome, Stella.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
It is so great for you to be here because I've been a fan of yours. I'm not on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. So I discovered you there, and it's just been a pleasure to watch you perform and talk about your music and kind of talk about the path you've been on, which is unique for people your age because most of them are trying to be pop stars, and you are singing songs that are in some cases 80 years old or more. So it's just wonderful to talk to you. And let's get started right away with the new album, It's Magic, which came out only a few weeks ago at the end of August. And boom, you're already on tour. And we were lucky to have you here in Atlanta. So I wanted to start off with that and talking about the Great American Songbook. A lot of people your age may not know what that is. Do you find that, are you encountering that? How do you become an ambassador of the Great American Songbook?
Yeah, it's a great question. First of all, Atlanta was so much fun. That was like one of the best shows of tour for sure. And everybody's accents afterward was so fun. In the like merch line when everyone was saying hi and taking pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a movie. This is awesome. I grew up in Springfield, Illinois. People have like kind of Southern accents, but nothing like Atlanta. So anyway, we had a great time during the show. But yeah, I mean, I think I have a range of ages at my concert usually. Sometimes it's, a lot of girlies in their 20s or like young couples in their 30s will come on their date nights, but it's also people celebrating like their 40th wedding anniversary. So it just depends. There's a big range. A lot of like dads bring their sons and a lot of mothers and daughters come together. Sometimes it's like a whole family, which is always exciting to see. So it's a variety of age ranges, but definitely, when my audience that's not like Gen Z or millennials, they know this music and they're excited to see a young person singing it again, I think. And my audience who is around my age, closer to my age, I think usually, yeah, they don't know about the Great American Songbook. I get the comment a lot on social media of people commenting like, I love this music, but what is it? Like, what is this? And so I think it's amazing to be able to be the person and singer who's introducing people to this music. Like if my voice is the first time people are hearing a jazz standard, that is so cool and kind of an honor and really like a big part of the goal of what I am trying to do is keep this music alive.
I love that. And so for me, I discovered it through my grandmother and her records and her neighbor who, after they died, they left me all their 78s. So that's,
Wow.
the thick old fashioned records.
Yeah.
I grew up, listening to those original recordings, in my grandparents' living room and in their neighbor across the street living room who would invite me over to listen to records, even though I was, a young child. Did you have something similar with multi-generational listening in your family?
Absolutely. It was really my parents who introduced me to this music through movies. So the first time I ever heard anything from the Great American Songbook was when I was 2 years old and I saw The Wizard of Oz for the first time. And I really just fell in love with it. I fell in love with Judy Garland and Somewhere Over the Rainbow and just the magic of the whole movie. And I was obsessed with it at 2. I don't remember this at all, but my parents tell me I asked to watch it every single day for like over a year. It's literally all I wanted to do. Had all the Barbies, my third birthday was Wizard of Oz themed. And they started showing me other movies like that, like The Sound of Music and Meet Me in St. Louis and Mary Poppins and Singing in the Rain. And those are just still my favorites to this day, have been my whole life since I was that young. So yeah, I think something just like in my soul, like at a soul level, just really felt like it connected to this music for me. And I can't really remember a time when I haven't loved it more than anything.
And it's interesting in the universe, I guess you might say it's timely with it's your second album, but kind of your first major label
Yeah.
connection there, your release. And The Wizard of Oz is showing at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and The Sound of Music is celebrating its 60th anniversary. It's actually in theaters. It was, this week in theaters across the country.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an appreciation for all of that stuff still around and maybe even coming back stronger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you gave a shout out to Harold Arlen at the Atlanta show, and I thought, okay, this girl knows her stuff.
Yeah.
But besides Judy Garland, what were some of those voices that really captivated you when you were figuring out, "Oh, I might wanna sing."
Yeah, I think Nat King Cole I've loved my whole life. I probably heard him first through Christmas music and then just have fallen in love with his entire catalog, all the trio stuff he does. Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, I got very into when I moved to New York. Billie Holiday, I also love, all like the greatest jazz singers of all time. And then also like Doris Day and Peggy Lee are big inspirations of mine. Sort of like girl singers of the 50s who aren't necessarily jazz, but were sort of in between. And then, Julie Andrews was always a huge one for me. Gene Kelly, like the people who were not just like, I wasn't listening to them on records, but I was just seeing them perform and act and like be this whole, like well rounded performer. That was always my goal, I think. I can't tap dance, so I guess I failed a little bit in that, but
You gotta learn to tap dance.
I
No,
do
some of the dances
exactly.
they do are just Gene Kelly. I mean, I can't even imagine this
I
and
know.
Fred
It could
Astaire.
never be me. Yeah.
Another thing people your age, and I refer to that because I said my daughter is your age as well, maybe they don't understand how kind of difficult some of these songs are to sing, and not only to sing, but to perfect and curate and make it your own because there's a lot of articles about how music has changed structure over the past century, and a lot of that is like fewer key changes, fewer time signatures, fewer different things that these songs are full of these changes. And what's just been the most challenging song from It's Magic to learn and to perform?
That's a great question. I think I think seeing this music has always felt relatively easy to me. I didn't go to music school or anything. I know that it's complicated, but it's just since I grew up on it, it feels so natural. When I watch my musicians do stuff, I'm like, that looks really hard. I think they're doing more difficult things than me, to be fair. But I think the most difficult one on this record was Alfie. I had already known that song for a few years and I'd been singing it, but that song, like the Dionne Warwick version of that is just so iconic, and, just trying to really make that my own was, I think, the thing I struggled with the most, and Burt Bacharach is such a freak genius and was never writing songs that were just in the sort of like ABA form, so Alfie has, like, a bit of a different form and feeling, and it's different than everything else on the record, so I think that was the most challenging one, and also vocally the most challenging, but it's my favorite song to sing live these days, I think.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because it was definitely my favorite at the show. I love the entire show, but Alfie just did something to me. And by the way, one of my favorite songs because my little Sheltie that I'm looking at right over here, his name is Alfie. N-
Gosh, no way.
named after the song, but you're right. I mean, the all the background compositions are full of those key changes and
Yeah,
amazing just
crazy.
intervals between notes, but I just thought it was beautiful. I hope you felt the love from the audience on that one because that was just really breathtaking. So I'm glad to hear that it was, something that you worked on. And how
Yeah.
do you when you're performing now, because is this your first sort of big tour? I know you were out with Postmodern Jukebox, but this is kind of your first big tour alone, right?
No, it's not my first big tour alone. I've been touring the last since 2023 is when I did my first tours with Postmodern Jukebox. So we did like a 6-week tour bus thing in the spring, and then I think that summer I toured with them in Australia. And then since then, 2024 and all of this year, I've been out doing my own tours for like 6 months of the year, maybe 7 months of the year. So yeah, this is the second time I think in the US where we've done something that's like a month in a row, like this long of a stretch. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten very used to just touring constantly. I think I might have mentioned this at the show, but by the end of the year, we're going to have done like 115, 120 shows this year or something, including like not just in the US, obviously, in Canada and Europe and Asia. We went to Japan this year. Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. Pretty much a huge dream come true to just sing this music all around the world.
What's been the funniest thing that's happened so
Uh,
far? You guys into this one, but
I'm trying to think. I mean, there have been lots of just ridiculous travel stories. I think I had really bad sort of food poisoning or something when we were in Venice in Italy last fall, and I had to like ride a ferry and then go with this crazy Italian driver to the airport, and then that our plane was delayed for like 4 hours and we like barely made the gig. You know, there are lots of different stories like that. And in Germany, another ridiculous thing was our driver through Germany was on the Autobahn and was just going like 120 miles an hour. And we were all like, oh my gosh, we're going to die. Like today's the day we die. So traveling abroad is always funny. Some of the most amazing experiences were in Japan this year. Just the ramen and the food is so good. And it's just so crazy that I have fans like all the way in Japan. That doesn't even make any sense to my brain. I can't comprehend that. So
Well,
it's been
Japan
pretty
loves
cool.
jazz. They really love jazz. They love
They
the
do?
Great American Songbook. They loved CDs. They still collect CDs, so it's a really big deal there to, have a jazz
Yeah.
CD out. Let's drill in a little bit more on some composers now. So I just, wrote down a couple, like I know you've performed, Sondheim, Gershwin, Johnny Mercer and Henry Mancini, Harold Arlen, we mentioned Meredith Willson.
Yeah.
Do you have one that the more you sing their songs, you see it in a different light? Like, is somebody just now blooming for you as a composer?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't think I was introduced to Burt Bacharach until a couple of years ago, so that would be the newest one for me. But honestly, I think I've loved all this music for so long that it's like I've always liked them. It just depends on which composer and which type of song I'm into in the moment. I think for me, Harold Arlen has always been a favorite since I was 2 years old, and I think Harold Arlen songs for me, like I can sing them so many times and it always has a different meaning. And like wherever I'm at that day or that night, I feel like the music is just so good that I can put any emotion or any feeling I'm having onto it and like it opens up a new door into the song, if that makes sense.
What
Whereas
do you wish your audience knew about some of the songs? Or you were learning them?
yeah.
I mean, they know now who Harold Arlen is, but besides that, what have you learned about any of the songs you want your audience to know?
That's a great question. I think one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is the sort of nostalgia people have with these songs. Obviously, it reminds a lot of people of a grandparent or of parents, like you were saying. And something I've been thinking about a lot is the fact that, you know, the nostalgia people have for like, I guess the 40s and the 50s. I've been thinking about the fact that the 40s and 50s were actually quite an insane time for America. And that this nostalgia is really for like media, the old Hollywood and the music that was created back then. I think it was like this magical world that they were creating that was meant to be an escape from for people's everyday lives and the Great Depression. So many of these songs were written right after the Great Depression, and I think understanding and thinking more about that history and reading more books about that history has been really eye-opening for me because I think the nostalgia people feel is kind of for a world that never even existed, if that makes sense. Like it's for this world that was created to like lighten people's hearts a little bit. And I think that's something that I hope comes across in my music. That's sort of the goal of my album is to, make people just be able to take a deep breath in these times and just I never everybody's attention spans are shortening, but I hope that people can like you were saying, you used to go over to your neighbor's house and listen to all these vinyls. Like I hope people can listen to the full album and just like take that in and slow down a little bit in this sort of crazy world we're in. So yeah, I think that's something I would like. I don't know if that's for my fans to learn, but I hope that that's coming across for them in these songs.
Well, and I think that music speaks to the longing for like a unity and a common knowledge. So these songs are so great because everybody knows them, where
Yeah.
otherwise, generationally now, we're not in the same position where a grandma and a grandchild would know the same song. And
Yeah.
I always say at, New Year's Eve, New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever,
Uh-huh.
they have the first 5 songs they play are always something usually from the American Songbook, plus they always play New York, New York, and those are the songs that bring people together, and
Exactly.
there's definitely a role with that. Okay, so here's our final question. Because it's the Sweet Song Podcast, we have to get your sweet song. Now, I know we're not talking about songwriting at the moment, and it doesn't even have to be your favorite song, but maybe one that means the most to you, that
Oh,
you've performed or recorded, or it could be one you've never performed.
that's a great question. Sweet song. I think one for me that I've really loved, it's on the album, but it's not like one of the top tracks that is like a lead single or anything. It's called Fools Rush In. and I first heard it on a record that Frank Sinatra and Tommy Dorsey did together. It's just the first thing that came to my mind when you said "sweet song," it's just like it's just that, a sweet song. It's about, someone sort of pleading with the person they love. Not pleading, but just sort of saying, like, "Fools rush in. I don't know. Maybe we should do it. Maybe we should fall in love." And I just find that sentiment to be very sweet about, all of us being fools in love. And that's the sort of vulnerability of being able to just be like, I could get hurt, but like I'm gonna rush in because I think I love you. So I think that's been one that I've been really loving off of the record lately.
Have you been a fool who rushed in?
Totally. Yes. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Stella. Continued good luck
Course.
on the tour. It was just an amazing experience, and congratulations on the album, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time around.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks again for having me.